Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carol Baskin, and you are listening to Fascination Street.
I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with actor Eben Antony. Eben is an Indian-born actor in the New Orleans area and is currently starring in the new film Spoken on Amazon Prime and has a new film called Butterfly being released soon. In this episode, we chat about his growing up in India and coming super close to playing professional soccer, and then we chat about some of the voice work he did in India and what made him decide to come to America to pursue an engineering degree and ultimately to follow his lifelong dream to become an actor. We talk about some of his heroes in the acting world. We talk about some of his experiences on sets and what it was like to work on a green screen. Don't forget to check out his new film Spoken, which is available right now on Amazon Prime, and to keep a lookout for his upcoming film Butterfly. This is my conversation with actor Eben Antony. Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Eben Antony. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Steve?
I cannot complain, man. It's gotten a little cooler down here in Texas over the past couple of days, so I'm happy about that. Usually it's just crazy out here, so I'm excited about that. But then guess what, man? I'm talking to you, so it's a great day.
My pleasure.
So what I like to do, Eben, is I like to start out with where people were born and raised. It kind of helps us get an idea of what got them into the thing that they're into and how they wound up where they're at currently. So without further ado, man, where'd you grow up? Where were you born and raised?
So I was born and raised in India. Right from my childhood, I was always interested in, arts and sports. I was always involved in like dance competitions, school plays and stuff like that. I was also a soccer player. Through my high school, I was a soccer player. I got a sports scholarship for my university back home in India. I studied electrical engineering, by the way. And when I was studying, I was fortunate to do voiceover work for over 100 cartoons and movies back home in India. And then, I moved to the US for my grad school in engineering. I came to the US, got done with my master's, got a job. And once I was settled, I was like, you know what, let me actually pursue my passion for acting, because I never got an opportunity to actually pursue acting back home. Though I did voiceover work because I was always busy playing soccer and other stuff. And then I was like, let me take a first step. I just want to make sure this is what I really want to do. That's how I ended up in New York Film Academy, the one in Los Angeles, for an acting workshop. By the end of the workshop, man, I was convinced that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It was super fun. It was great. So, I come back and, I start training with different acting coaches. I've been training with some of the world's best acting coaches like Tim Phillips, Larry Moss. Larry Moss was the acting coach for DiCaprio for Aviator, trying to, work on my craft every day because, I bring in this soccer training mentality for everything I do. You just don't train right before the match. You train throughout the year. And when the match comes, you just play it. The same way with acting or anything you do, you just continuously train. And, if an audition comes or something comes, you just do it just like another day. And, I've been part of different student films and short films. And then COVID hit and all the productions, they stopped. And, staying down and, thinking about, I don't have an opportunity to actually showcase myself. I actually doubled up on my training, instead of taking one class a week, I had like 5 classes a week. When the productions resumed, Spoken, the movie I'm part of, was the first audition I got. It was a 3-round audition process. And by the end of the round, the director was very happy the way I portrayed the character. And that's how I was welcomed on board.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back to India for a bit. Now, you said you grew up always wanting to pursue the arts, but then when you did go to university, you went for engineering. Well, why? Why engineering?
My dad's an engineer. So, I was always fascinated by what he did. And also, there weren't a whole lot of acting schools, and it wasn't like most sought after kind of deal too. Like, you don't really get a chance to pursue arts and sports over the regular academics, I would say. Also, I was interested. It's not like somebody pushed me to study it. So I was like, you know what? Let me actually make some money, get myself financially stable before I actually pursue my passion.
What a weird concept. We don't do that over here. We just wing it. We fly by the seat of our pants and then hope somebody bails us out. So, well done. I guess both of your parents had a pretty big role in helping you get to the point where you would make such a wonderful decision for your future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are completely supportive. They're not really familiar with how the whole film industry works, but they just believe like if you have sincere hard work going to whatever you do, you definitely reap the fruit.
Makes sense. I think that I guess you got a scholarship to go to university from playing all that soccer.
Yeah.
Why did you not decide to? This is going to sound crazy, but why didn't you go pro, man? They got pro soccer in India, right?
Yeah, I was actually on the verge of playing pro, and that's when I was hit by an injury.
Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't play for 3-4 months. And what happened was I missed a lot of selection trials, and I was in my senior year of college. So I had to decide on either continue with my school, just go to grad school, or then stay back. And I didn't want to stay back.
Gotcha. And I know that you've voiced hundreds of cartoons, but how did you get voiceover jobs? How did that happen?
So there was this new channel they're going to launch back home in India. It was basically, a cartoon channel, and they were holding auditions and stuff like that. And I just got out of high school, and I just needed some pocket money. So I was like, well, let me just go try. And I mean, I tried 5 different voices, like in different tones. I'm like, wow, what's my name? So I tried, and they were happy with my voice. And so I started off with cartoons, and then slowly I transitioned to movies and stuff like that, because there was one studio that brought in all the movies, and all the movies back home in India, they do ADR work. Though it's live recorded, they still do ADR works to maintain the audio quality. So there's always work for voiceover artists back home.
Wow. And so the voice that you just did was in English. Were all of these voiceovers in English, or did you do some in?
No, I did all my voiceover work back home in my regional language. I just did it in English so that, the folks can understand.
Oh, sweet. What was your regional language back home?
It's called Malayalam. So I don't know how familiar you're with the geography of India, but each state has their own language. So it's like in Florida, you speak one language, and you come to Louisiana and they speak a whole different language you have no clue about. And we have 17 official languages.
17?
Yep.
That's basically how people feel about the states. I mean, yes, it's actually accurate with India, but that's how people feel that way. Like if you go to Florida, people do feel like they don't know what you're saying. That's more of they just don't like people from Florida or whatever. So so that's cool. What made you come to America? I know that you came here to go to school, but why did you pick a school in America?
The school I went to, it was the top 10 in the world for systems engineering. That's what I studied. I had scholarship there too. So I wasn't really bad in my academics compared to sports. I was fortunate to balance both.
So just so that I can understand this correctly, a young man who was raised with both parents and to be a good studier and a good human in India, turns out you're also good at school? What a shock. What a shock.
Well, it's a common thinking that, back home, like not just parents, like everybody, all your relatives too, like education is the only way out. Because I mean, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. So the education was the only way out to make a good life, a good living.
And in India, the whole family feels that way? Like the family's really involved with education and pushing how important that is?
Yes.
Yeah, we could use I would say a little of that here, but we could use a lot of that here. So well done to your whole family, man. That's awesome. What did your parents say? Did your mom cry? Like when you were like, all right, peace, I'm going to Missouri. Were they like, first of all, where the hell is Missouri? And second of all, why are you leaving?
Well, they did know, I was in my next phase of my life. I have to leave to actually grow myself as a human being as well as in my career.
Nice. Do you get to see them very often?
I make it a point to visit them every year. I usually travel back home for Christmas so that, everybody's home.
That's really cool. So once you got settled in your career and you have a really good job in New Orleans, then you were like, all right, cool. I've got all this extra time. I'm going to take 11,000 acting classes and then I'm going to go audition for some stuff. So, what was it about the New Orleans acting scene that made you think, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot?
Well, there are a lot of schools around here that produces student films and short films that actually got me into the door of acting because I was totally unaware of how the acting system worked here because it's a totally different scenario back home. So I wanted to get used to the scenario, and it's called Hollywood of the South.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of projects here, and you can't be traveling to LA every time. It gets expensive after a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was mostly auditioning for stuff in Atlanta and New Orleans.
Oh, sweet. And how do you find the audition process? This is going to sound super disrespectful, and I don't mean it that way, but I've heard a lot of stories where, like, if there's let's just say an Asian fellow, right? Like a Chinese fellow or something, he'll go to an audition and they'll say, oh, you need to be more Chinese or whatever. Have you experienced any of that where they're just like, oh, Indian it up or whatever?
Fortunately, I haven't had
Good.
that problem yet.
Oh, don't say yet, man. You're breaking my heart. Well, that's good. That makes me
Well,
happy.
you never know. You encounter stuff like this. It's just that, you keep your head high and keep doing what you're doing.
Sweet. So one of the classes that you took and maybe are still taking is taught by James Dumont.
Oh, yeah. I call him James Dumont, my mentor and my well-wisher. So I really owe big time to him.
James Dumont has been on this show twice, and he is a super, super good dude. I love that guy so much. So I'm glad that you're taking classes with him because from the work that I've seen, he knows what he's doing. And from the times that I have spoke with him, he loves to share that knowledge. So that makes me super happy that you're taking his class. Are you still taking it?
Yes, I'm still a student. I mean, I will always be a student. Rather than just having just a teacher-student relationship, it was always by my side, helping me out. Because I mean, as I told you, I was totally unaware of the whole acting system here, and he took time to explain what's going on and how we need to go about stuff. So more than a teacher, he's a great friend of mine.
Oh, that's good to hear. He's a really great guy. So, how many different projects besides the one that we're about to talk about? How many projects have you been able to audition for down there in the Hollywood of the South?
My first short film came after 50 auditions.
Interesting.
It's not like, I just walk an audition, I get a part, come out. Spoken happened after probably 500 auditions. So I'm just saying you got to have the consistency, the perseverance, because it's not a sprint race, it's a marathon. You never know.
The fact that you probably didn't book your first short film until after like 50 auditions or so, was it your soccer training and your soccer mentality that made you not quit?
Absolutely, yes.
That much rejection early on, a lot of people would have been like, yeah, I guess this is not going to happen for me. But you kept going. And it's the perseverance that I think really gets people to bail on just about everything pretty quickly. And so do you think that you got the bulk of your perseverance specifically from all your million years of soccer and all of that training, or did it also partly come from your family?
I would say it's a mix of both because, day in, day out, I saw my father working really hard for the family and, the ethics he had towards work. And even if it's not work, he still had, if you say 7:00, you would still be at that spot at 7:00. The punctuality he maintained, the consistency he maintained. In addition to that, all the discipline, I learned from playing soccer. If you're late for training, you're not going to train. Or if you're late for match, you're not going to play that match. So I believe that's a mix of both. But I do owe to my acting teachers. I was fortunate to start my acting training with them, and they tuned my mindset towards this whole craft in a different way because none of these auditions are rejections. It has nothing to do with the talent or the way I am as an actor. It's just that I wasn't selected. So there's a huge difference between rejection and selection. And it's just having that positive attitude that keeps you going.
I love it. So they're not saying no to you. They're just saying yes to somebody else.
Absolutely. And it's like they needed a 25-year-old female. And if I auditioned for that character, there's no way in the world I'm going to get that part.
Well, first of all, if you audition for that role, you need to fire your agent.
Well, it's just an example.
Sure. Yeah, I got you. But me and you shouldn't be going for the same roles. I'm an old fat white guy. So, so then you went to what school did you say you went to? It was a film school?
New York Film Academy in Los Angeles.
Okay, great. Why? I know that you're taking all these classes from these great teachers, but why also go to the Film Academy?
Well, that was my first stop. I've heard about that film school a lot, and a couple of my friends back home, they recommended it. And there was this New York film school, and then there was this Los Angeles campus. And a couple of my friends told me, New York might be more inclined towards theater, and Los Angeles more inclined towards film and television. So I was like, all right, fine, let me just go and take it. It was more of like I just wanted to make sure, because I had a lot of doubts, like if this is what I want to pursue, because I had no clue what I'm dealing with. Because whatever I'm doing as an engineer, it's a career for like 95% of the people. They just stick to it. I just wanted to have a starting point where I could at least get the feel of the industry and actually know what it is. And I always believed in formal training.
Do you think that prepared you for the film and television industry here in America? Do you think that you got a good level of understanding from going to that school?
I would say it gave me the confidence to pursue acting, to be honest, because after that workshop, I was like, all right, fine. I have a lot of fun. It's like a kid from school who goes to play in the evening and who never wants to return back home. He just wants to stay in the playground and keep playing. That's exactly how I feel when I'm acting. So it gave me the confidence. Even after I came back from New York Film Academy, I did not know all the answers. And even now, I don't know all the answers. But I'm just saying, at least I know, okay, fine, I can do this. I got that confidence from there.
Nice. So you found out that this is something that you can do. Because this is going to sound dumb, but like if you would have gone to juggling school and day one, you figure out you're not very coordinated, then you're going to be like, well, maybe juggling's not for me. So you went to acting school and figured out that maybe acting kind of is for you.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Contactee is the new movie from me, Vincent Caldoni. When therapist Jay Rossi is assigned a patient who claims to have been abducted by aliens, her story wins him over. Her tales begin to take on an aura of truth rather than insane delusion, and he concocts a plan to confront the alien intelligence. He absconds with her to a cabin in the mountains to document the phenomenon, prove that she is not crazy. But see, here's the thing. Messing with an otherworldly intelligence proves to be more dangerous than either Jay or his patient could have ever foreseen. Contactee is a heady thriller, more focused on ideas than CGI, and loaded with twists. For more details, visit contacteemovie.com.
Let's get back into it.
You might not even be able to answer this, but if you had to choose, and thankfully you don't, but if you had to choose, which way would you go? Would you stick with engineering for the rest of your life? You can only do one. Would you stick with engineering for the rest of your life, or would you try to make a living as an artist?
I don't even have to think. I'd be an artist.
Yeah?
The engineering job is great. I'm able to afford all my bills, pay my bills with my engineering stuff. So
sure.
Until I make a good source of income from acting, yeah, I'd probably continue engineering work, but I'm always an artist.
Nice. I love it. Didn't even have to finish that sentence before you had your answer. Who are your role models? Who do you look up to besides the acting teachers that you mentioned? What's your shining example of the kind of artist that you want to be?
There are a couple of artists from back home in India. One of them, his name is Kamal Hassan. He's a fabulous actor. He's a legendary actor. He could pull off 15 characters in the same movie. I mean, totally different characters.
Wow.
Looking at Western cinema, I would say Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington. Yeah.
Sweet. Let's talk about this thing. Tell me about Spoken. Spoken is on Amazon Prime. Is it out right now?
Yes, it's out on Amazon Prime right now. It's written and directed by super talented, fabulous Tenel Ransom. This is a horror thriller film. The story revolves around 5 students who go to a summer camp and they encounter some mysterious crab attacks.
Did you say crab attacks?
That's right.
Now, you said horror thriller. Is this silly? Like Sharknado? Or is this like for real?
For real.
Crab attacks?
That's right.
All right. So I'm so sorry. I interrupted you. So these
are giant crabs. It's
Oh, you're not making it sound scarier. You're making it sound funnier. Okay, so these kids go to a summer camp and there's these crazy crabs. All right. Are you one of the
Yep.
kids?
Yes, I'm one of the 5 people. It's an ensemble cast. Yes.
That is fantastic. So was there a lot of green screen and tennis balls or how, or did they have real big crabs?
Most of it was green screen. And, the film picturizes how we deal with the crab attacks and how we survive those crab attacks.
Interesting.
And it's an interesting story, a different approach on how you look at stuff. And I'm pretty sure you guys would enjoy the movie.
Oh, I can't wait. This sounds amazing. My daughter is flying in tomorrow from Washington and she's going to stay with us for a few days. And definitely this is going to be on the list, man. She's super into horror and well, who doesn't love a good crab? So, I mean, we're definitely going to watch that. How did you find acting on a green screen?
A little weird at first.
A little.
But then I got used to it.
Really? So the director is just like, okay, and now you're running and it's trying to get you. And you're like, how is the direction different when you're being directed on a green screen?
You still picturize, it's like an audition process. You see something, but you not want to have it when you're going to audition for it. I think it's a similar approach where, you actually see it, but not like see it for real. And I think it's part of the acting process.
Gotcha. Who else is in this film? Who are the other crab lunch?
There are a bunch of fabulous actors, Chad, Chelsea, lead singer, and there's another Chelsea. So there are 2 Chelseas, a Chad and Sergio. Sergio is part of Lovecraft Country.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there are a bunch of fabulous actors.
Nice. I can't wait to see this. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
What did you think?
It's great, and I'm really excited about the project. It being my first feature film, and released on a super huge platform like Amazon Prime. I'm super excited.
Well, you should be excited. You're awfully young and early in this process to have your first feature film already. That's amazing. I think that not only does it go to your talent or speak to your talent, but it also speaks to that drive. Like you said, you probably auditioned 500 times before you got this film. So you have a full-time job as an engineer. And how does that work where you're like, oh, hey, boss, I'm going to take off and I'm going to go chase some crabs around the low country. Like, how does that work?
So fortunately, I have enough paid time off from my work. So whenever a gig pops up, I just take off from work and then I do my acting stuff.
Nice. Well, you're going to come to a fork in the road there because you're going to get so busy that you have so many projects. You're not going to have unlimited time off from work, man.
Well, that's when I pull the plug.
Oh, nice. Tell me about Butterflies.
So Butterflies is my second feature film.
Wait, hold on. 2 already? You know how many films I've been in? 0. And I'm old. So good job, man. Tell me about Butterflies.
Thank you. Butterflies, directed by Kevin Stevenson and written by Ryan McCoy. It's based off award-winning author Tom Levine's novel called Party. And I play the role of Aziz. And again, it's an ensemble cast. It's a teen drama story. I don't want to let out a whole lot of information.
Sure.
I just got done with the ADRs a couple of weeks back. We have already submitted for the Sundance Film Festival. So if it gets selected, that'd be super great. So
sweet.
Looking forward to it. Should be releasing early January, I believe.
And do you know where it's going to be?
I'm not sure yet if it's going to be selected for Sundance. It would be released at the Sundance Film Festival, or it might be in one of the major online platforms.
Nice. Tell me about With a Price.
With a Price, yeah. Yeah, it's a short film I was fortunate to be part of. It was super fun project to be working, and I play a supporting character called Tony in it, who inherit a possessed house from a boss. And I don't know if it's complete coincidence, but all the 3 projects I worked in has got a slight twinge of horror in it.
Interesting. So do you think it's because they film a lot of horror stuff down there, or do you think it's because, hey man, you're just good at looking scared?
I don't know. Do I?
I don't know. And look scared, go. That's funny.
But yeah, I think it's complete coincidence. And I personally don't watch a whole lot of horror films, but acting in one wasn't that scary. So it works.
Let's hope not, right? So I know that so far you've done a lot of horror. What genre do you think you would enjoy the most? Like, what do you want to do?
I like thriller films. action thriller films and drama, like serious drama.
I mean, I know you don't have a lot of control over what you even get to audition for, but is that something you're going to, pursue? Like have conversations with your agents, say, hey, send me to the real deep nitty gritty stuff.
Well, that's when you start writing.
Oh, snap. This dude's he's taking the Seth Rogen approach. Nice. Seth Rogen famously said that nobody would hire him because of the way he looks. So he just started writing stuff for himself.
Right. I mean, at this early stage in your career, if you want to showcase how you want to be portrayed, I think writing is the best way to go about it.
Are you a good writer?
I wouldn't call myself that, but I've started writing.
So do you have mentors as far as your writing goes? Like maybe is James helping you with that too? Because I know he writes stuff.
James helps me with it. And, Mr. Tim Phillips helps me with it as well.
Oh, cool.
And and comedy is fun to work with as well. So I would add comedy to the genre I'd like to work with.
Yeah. I think comedy might even be easier to write. I don't know.
Comedy is a set of rules. You just have to hit the notes.
Man, you're all about the rules. You're all about that's the engineering you. You're just like, okay, so I do A and then B and then C happens.
It's not always like that. It's just that for comedy in particular, you got to have that formula in place. Otherwise, you're not going to laugh. It's
the story of my life, man. I walk up to a complete stranger. I tell them the punchline. They look at me weird and then I tell them the joke and they still look at me weird. I don't get it.
You got to use the formula, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out what that formula is, man. I hate when people ask this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you got on the horizon? Are you involved in something right now that you can't talk about that's upcoming? Is it audition season? What's going on in your life right now?
I've been auditioning, yes. And I've been talking with a couple of directors back home in India for some really promising projects. It's not officially announced yet, so I can't talk about it, but it's exciting and I'm looking forward to it. And as soon as I hear something official, I'll let you guys know about it.
So I guess I've never even thought about this, but if let's just say you're a basketball player, if you play for the basketball team in New Orleans, you're not allowed to play for the basketball team in Los Angeles. But with acting, I know that you can just work whenever you want, but there's no like SAG-AFTRA or anything doesn't say, hey, you can't go to India and do a thing.
I don't believe so. And I'm not a SAG-AFTRA member here, so I don't know about it.
Nice. Oh, cool. Well, so then you're an unrestricted free agent, so they say. You can play for whoever you want to play for. How exciting would it be to go essentially home and make a movie or two?
I grew up watching films in my regional language, and it would be a dream come true if I acted in one.
Would this be considered Bollywood or no?
So Bollywood is from a particular area in India. There are different film industries. As I said, there are like 17 official languages, so there are 17 different film industries in India.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And Bollywood is one of them.
Along that same notion, would there be dancing involved?
I think there's a whole lot of misconception around that, especially when you look from the other side of the world. Mm-hmm. We do have a lot of movies with music and like musicals and dancing, but,
sure,
that's not the only films we produce there.
No. I understood that. I just meant these specific projects that you might be doing.
One of them, yes.
Oh, cool. And you're a dancer, right? You started dancing a while back. So, Wow, how cool. Because it's going to be a pretty rare occurrence that you get to dance in a movie here. We don't have a whole lot of dancing movies. So that'd be a cool thing for you to try, I think. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's a good platform to showcase your dancing skills, I believe.
Sure. And also to have fun. And, like you said, part of the reason that you would trade engineering for acting is because of how much fun you have. So
exactly.
It just sounds like a blast. Would these locations be far away from your family, or would you be able to go, visit them while you're working?
I'd be able to visit them for sure. Yes.
Sweet.
I don't have to travel 21 hours back home. Like I know when I'm flying from here.
Is it really 21 hours?
Yeah. Including the layover.
Man, that's a long car ride. Oh, it's not on. Okay. I got you. It's a plane. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, how did you spend your COVID? I know that you just went to all these acting classes, but what else did you do during COVID?
I stayed home, made sure everybody is safe, like people around me. Followed all the COVID protocols, stayed home for a good bit of time. That's when, I started writing and, I started concentrating more on my craft. Yes, COVID's hit us real bad, but from an artistic perspective, it's been a blessing for me.
How so? Because it gave you the time to work on your craft?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. I know a lot of artistic people, they really use that time wisely. You know, musicians use that time to write and to produce songs. There's a bunch of bands that, you know, made a whole album during COVID. You know, they'd record their part and send it to the next guy and they'd record their part. So there was a lot of bands that made music. There was a lot of authors who just took that time to write more books or screenplays and scripts and things like that. So I think that at first, you know, when they essentially shut down all of the arts, everybody was pretty scared about what was about to happen. But I think that the ones who were kind of on the ball, like yourself, really used that time to dig deeper and get better at what they do. And then maybe start a little side project like you with the writing. It's a little disrespectful to call it a side project, but you're just getting started at it and you're just sort of working out the kinks and the bumps and kind of getting your feet under you as a writer in that regard. So I commend you yet again on your stick-to-itiveness, man. I mean, man, maybe the rest of the world is onto something and soccer really is awesome. You've learned a lot from soccer, man.
It's number one sport in the world.
Yeah, and tea is the number one drink in the world, but we don't care about that either. So, what is the coolest thing that you've done since you've gotten here in America? What's the coolest thing? Whether it's besides being in movies, that's pretty damn cool. But I mean, like, have you gone to see maybe a band that you were excited about that you never thought you would get to see? Or have you met somebody that you never thought you'd get to meet? Have you met Tom Hanks? I mean, that guy practically lives in New Orleans.
No, I haven't. Hopefully I meet him pretty soon. But I just feel like I've met a whole lot of new people here in the US because, I come from a totally different country and, getting to know about people, the culture here. I think that's, one of the coolest things. And traveling around the US has taught me a whole lot,
Sure.
It helps me broaden my mind and the way I think. So
I think that more people should travel, especially more people in this country. We should travel more, even if it's just inside the country, because we have different cultures and different people all over the country.
Right.
I think more people should travel because, like you said, it opens up your mind to other cultures and other people, and that's never a bad thing. So good for you for traveling. What's your favorite food in New Orleans? I've been there a bunch of times, and the food there is spectacular, in my opinion. What's your favorite thing to eat there when you're not home? Like, where do you go out to?
Gumbo, jambalaya, charbroiled oysters. Ooh, yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, you like that, huh? All right. Yep. Very cool. Man, it's been a while since we were in New Orleans. Every time we're about to go, something crazy happens, either a hurricane or, a pandemic the last 2 years. So we're going to have to get over there again and have some of that delicious food, man. I miss it. A lot. I miss it a lot. So, Eben, where can people find you on social media?
Instagram, Twitter, I got the same user ID, actor Eben Antony, ActorEbinAntony. I don't have a H in my name. Usually people say Anthony with the H. I don't have a H.
So it's actor Eben Antony on Twitter and Instagram?
That's right.
What about TikTok, man? You're a young fellow. Come on, man. You're a kid. Do TikTok. You're awesome at it, I guess. I don't know.
To be honest, I've been busy with all this other stuff because literally I got 2 full-time jobs.
Spoken like a true adult. Look, bro, I'm too busy for TikTok. I have 2 social medias and I barely have time for that. Well done. Now, Eben, before I let you go, I always ask, is there anything that I didn't ask you or we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about today? Like, did I miss something? Did I miss anything?
I can't think of anything. It was really good talking to you. I had fun talking to you and I don't care about the stuff I left out.
Well, I enjoyed speaking with you as well, Eben. I think that your professionalism and your dedication to your craft, both of your crafts, I think that you're going to go far in whichever lane you really want to be in. I mean, you could ride this engineering thing and then act. You could stop the engineering and be an actor. You could do both. I mean, Ken Jeong, he's still a doctor. He doesn't really doctor, but he's still a doctor. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with both of those things. And I think that the things that you've chosen to do in your life are working both sides of your brain simultaneously, which how bad could that be, right? Engineering's pretty left brain stuff, right? And then acting is all right brain and art and writing is right brain. But I think that with your dedication and your perseverance, I think you're going to go really far in both of these industries that you have chosen. And when
Thank
that
you. I
time
appreciate
does
it.
come, you're welcome. And when that time does come that you're going to have to make a choice, it's going to be the hardest decision you've ever made. Even though you answered quickly earlier, but by the time you have to make that decision, you're going to be making a lot more money than you are right now at it. And you're going to be higher and more sought after as an engineer with all those.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't start out this career, thinking I'd earn a lot of money. If I wanted a lot of money, I would have just stayed with engineering. But it's just that personal satisfaction you have doing something you love.
Oh, that's a perfect note to go out on. Oh, I love it. Eben Antony, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, Steve.
It was 100% my pleasure. And everybody go check out Spoken on Amazon Prime. I cannot wait to go check that out. That is going to be amazing. And then keep your eyes peeled for Butterflies. That's going to be somewhere soon. So just look for that as well. Thank you again, Eben. You have a great week, man.
Thanks so much. Have a good one. Bye.
Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2001 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jack's Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.